Are you stuck at a crossroads, struggling to make a choice? The choice to move forward into your new reality, or the choice to stay in your comfort zone where it's familiar? The longer we put it off, the harder it's going to get. We might say, I'll leave it till Monday, I'll leave it till next week, I'll leave it till after this, and I'll do it then. But as I said, the longer we put it off, the harder it's going to be. And if we keep putting it off, the universe is going to make it harder for us to stay in our old reality. But if we still don't listen, we're going to be tested. We're going to be tested to see if we'll go back to what we've always known and stay in the matrix for another year. So are you ready to escape now, or are you going to stay stuck? My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. This is the thing, we're so used to our old life. When the new comes calling, we're afraid. We're afraid to move forward. We're afraid to jump out of the familiar, to leave our old reality. Because, it's comfortable, but it's not really that comfortable. Because when we're actually transitioning, when we're about to jump into the new timeline, the universe does shake things up because we're not listening. We're not listening to our inner guidance. We're not listening to the intuition from our soul, our higher self. We're not listening to those messages from the universe. And when we don't listen to the nudges get louder. So the universe effectively shakes things up so that you will wake the fuck up and get the fuck out of there. But sometimes the shake-ups don't faze us because we're so used to things going wrong. And this is the thing, we're so used to the shit hitting the fan all the time. We're so used to bad luck. We just think it's normal. But this is where awareness comes in. You're being shaken up. The reason your life is volatile, or your life keeps going to shit, or everything keeps going wrong, is because you're not living the life that's truly meant for you. And as you evolve and heal, you will see that. You will see that you no longer feel comfortable in these situations. But sometimes we just say, sure, look, that's all there is. I'll put up with it. And that's what we do. We could be in toxic relationships, toxic family dynamics, surrounded by friends that aren't serving us. And we just say, it's all right. I don't deserve any better. And that's what it really is. It's like this feeling of, I don't deserve anything bar what I'm going through. I think oftentimes we are so hard on ourselves for our past. We blame ourselves for our past. That anything that we're suffering now, we take it as a deserved punishment. But you didn't choose to be abused. You didn't choose to be treated like shit. So therefore, why should you be punished? We're so hard on ourselves saying, how did I let that happen? You didn't let that happen. You were wounded and you were vulnerable and somebody took advantage of that. But that doesn't mean that you have to suffer in your life. It doesn't mean that your life has to continue to go around in circles. You're being given the opportunity now to evolve and grow. And you have that choice on whether or not you're going to evolve and grow or stay in that old reality. We keep making excuses. I've known these people my whole life. These people are my support group. This is my family. But if your health is deteriorating, and that's a sure sign that you're in the wrong environment, is your body is going to react. Things are starting to go wrong. Everything seems to go to shit. Everything keeps going wrong. You keep injuring yourself, or you keep getting sick. These are all signs that you're not in alignment with your soul. And this is it. We don't understand that this bad luck, it's not bad luck. It's literally an obstacle or a warning sign that you're not on the right path. Ill health, dis-ease in your body, feeling uncomfortable around certain situations, not being able to tolerate negativity or low vibrational energy anymore. These are all clear signs that you're not in the right environment, that you're supposed to escape the fucking matrix. You don't have to live that life anymore. You don't have to be miserable anymore. But we still don't listen. And these are actually tower moments or little nudges that turn into tower moments that will tell you, hey, get the fuck out, get the fuck out. And then we still don't listen. So we make excuses like, I have to stay here for financial reasons. I have to stay in this job for security. I have to stay with these friends because I don't have, I don't want to be on my own, or, I've known these people for a long time. And this is all things that I went through. Family dynamics, situations with narcissistic bosses, friendships that I couldn't feel comfortable in anymore. But I kept getting warning signs. So listen to these warning signs before it's too late. And we're never actually trapped. Remember this, we're never actually trapped. That's perceived. This is your life, so it's your choice. So no matter what the circumstances, no matter what the excuse, you have the choice to choose yourself. You have the choice to jump into your new reality and leave the old one behind, because it doesn't serve you anymore. And I'll give a few examples of warning signs that I got to get me out. And I'll give you a few examples of tests. These are, not only do we get the warning signs, as we're evolving and growing, we're presented with tests as well. These tests are to check, are you ready to evolve, or are you going to repeat another cycle? So be very mindful of anything that looks familiar to your past that presents itself. So I'll give an example of a test first. So we're right on the verge of getting everything that we want. And the universe will present this temptation to our old reality. If we're trying to stay away from drinking and partying, it's going to present something that's going to bring us back there. This wedding that we're obligated to go to, or feel obligated to go to, even though we're off the drink. Or, and you can still go to a wedding and not drink. I've done it. It's actually a great crack. Do you know what I mean? But you can, certain things like that. Or a person will be presented to you that will look so shiny on the outside. Jesus, we have a lot in common. And then they turn into your ex. They don't turn into your ex. They were always narcissistic. But you don't see it. So if you've got a history, I'll describe that for a second. I had a history of narcissistic relationships, and I actually had a history of narcissistic friends and bosses as well. And my ultimate test when I was on the verge of that proper upgrade was I was presented with another narcissist. And I stopped dating for so many years. And I was like, I'm not going to, I'm not going to risk, hurting myself again. I didn't know at this stage I was attracting narcissists. And then this other person came into my life, and I was just like, this person has a lot in common with me. I was really freaked out by it. I actually turned around to my friend and said, Jesus, somebody set me up, because he was from the same village as my ex. So I was like, this feels like a setup. He's too much in common. It's just too weird. And she said, the universe actually presents you a test. And I'm like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. This was afterwards. But this guy had all narcissistic traits. I had red flag after red flag. I wasn't listening to the loud warning signs. And after 2 months of knowing him, it was just these sirens going off in my head going, this looker is the same as all the rest of them. And then I realized the pattern. So I was able to evolve out of that. But that was my ultimate test. Was I going to stick in this relationship? It wasn't even a relationship at that stage. But stick in this situation and continue down the same route I'd always gone down. Or was I going to evolve past it? And when I decided then, I saw the pattern of narcissistic relationships. I was like, I'm done. I'm completely done. I'm going to wait for somebody, a high vibration of love. This was before I learned about twin flames, but I hadn't even known I was a twin flame till after this. And about a month after I'd made the decision to move forward, I was shown signs that I was a twin flame. I remembered that I was a twin flame. So that was my ultimate test. But I'll go back a little bit further. When we're in these toxic dynamics or in these situations that don't serve us, we will be, as I've said this before, we'll be nudged. We'll be given guidance, we'll be given redirection, we'll be given detours, and we're supposed to listen to these. When we don't listen, they get louder and louder and louder. I was in a volatile relationship in my 20s, one of two. This one lasted almost 8 years, but 6 years in, well, I won't even think it was 6 years in. The whole way through, I was getting worse and worse. I was drinking to get drunk every single day. So I obviously wasn't happy. But my health wasn't great. So these were the warning signs I got. Then I suffered the biggest trauma of my life. And I'll give you the dynamic that I was in towards the end. So the last 2 years of that relationship after I suffered my trauma, my ex got worse. He got worse, more verbally abusive. Treated me like I was a piece of shit because he blamed me for the trauma that happened to me and acted like it happened to him. But so the last 2 years we were just constantly fighting, but we made the decision to break up. And we decided to stay living in the same house. Now, this might sound familiar to a lot of people because oftentimes when couples break up, they can stay living together for a while for financial reasons. And I did not want to go home to my dad. I just didn't want to go back living at home. I was like, oh, this is fine. I'm going to get a job in the local town and I'm going to, start progressing my life. And I was like, this is great. I'm evolving. I didn't use those words at the time because I had no idea about spiritual awakening. And I got a job. I started to lose weight. And I started to shine again. And my ex got fucking angry and bitter towards this, so he got worse. But you know what happened? Ooh. This is why I kind of wanted to do this video today, right? When we don't listen to the nudges, we're actually presented with this test, right? And like obviously the nudges have gotten louder, so it's a big tower moment. Your life's going shit, but you're still not listening. So you're staying in this family dynamic because you're like, this person needs me. This person, I have to stay here for financial reasons. You're staying in a toxic relationship, or you're living in the same house with your ex because of financial reasons. When your ex is fucking toxic, right? Ooh, I already remember this morning. Like, and I'd written to do this video for the last few days, but it only came to me this morning. This ultimate test that I got. When I was still living there with my ex, I twisted my ankle really badly. I went out for a night with my friend and I drank like a fucking dog, or you know what I mean, really fucking heavy that night because I was still very unhappy because I was living with my fucking ex even though we weren't together. Things were still toxic. We were still fighting. And I twisted my ankle. And what happened? My ex had to look after me. Oh, you should have seen his face. It was like the narcissist regaining control of his victim. It was like, yes, I'll be able to reel her back in now. And yes, I was like, I became codependent again because I couldn't do much and he was doing everything. The first time he used the fucking washing machine. But anyway, you know what I mean? And he was doing overly really nice to me. And it was just like, oh my God. The thoughts coming into my head was like, do I have to get back with him now because he's helping me? So this is the kind of shit that goes on. Like, so for example, you're living with your ex and then you end up sleeping with him for one night and you end up getting pregnant, or, she gets pregnant, whatever it is. So, if you're in a drunk situation and your ex comes back, do not get back with him because it's literally a test going, do you want to go back to this repeated cycle? So like I was literally, tested in this moment going, and I questioned, do I have to get back with him because he's helping me? And I was like, I can't. And it even took another tower moment for me to actually leave that house. Another volatile fight that I got so scared that I had to go back to my dad's. So all of these things are going to come in to force you out of the fucking toxic dynamic that you're in, to move you out of your old reality and into your new one. But if you don't listen, the shit's really going to hit the fan. And you're going to be presented with a problem where you are literally, you still have a choice. This is it. No matter how bad things get, if you're not supposed to be in that situation, get the fuck out. No matter what. And I'm like, even if you've got kids with your ex, isn't it so much better for those children to be raised with two separate, non-volatile households than one toxic household? It's that simple. You know what I mean? There's going to be more problems when they're raised watching narcissistic fucking fighting going on. It's just not right. So no matter what the situation, no matter what you're going through, no matter how bad it gets, you still have a choice to leave that situation any moment of any day. Now, I know how difficult that is, but the warnings, the download I got this week was don't get trapped in the matrix. Like, and as I said, there's no trap. You always have a choice. But if you don't fucking listen, not only are you going to get tower moment after tower moment to push you out, if you don't listen to that, you're going to get the ultimate test. The test of being presented with a temptation from your past. Will you go back to your old ways and repeat another fucking cycle? Or will you move forward? And this is the trap, this perceived trap. This test is not a trap. It's asking you that question. Do you want to go back to that old shit? Do you want to suffer? Continue to suffer? Or do you want to break free? This is the question that is being presented to all of us. And for me, thankfully, I've evolved so past that I'm not living out of alignment with my soul. But I will still get my little nudges. I'll still get my little pushes when I get too comfortable. And I have to listen to these, because if I don't listen to them, then something will go wrong where I'm forced to listen. So I have to get to listen to every guidance that comes in. So when you're actually in the stages of still being a part of the matrix, the old system, and you're trying to break free from that into the new reality, I know how difficult that is. And I know how things keep going wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong until the shit hits the fan and you're forced out. But sometimes you don't listen to that force. And something else bad has to happen in order for you to listen. Or the ultimate test comes in to test to see if you're ready. Are you ready to move forward? Or are you going to do it again? Are you going to go out with another toxic partner? Are you going to end up in another toxic dynamic? Are you going to stay in an unhealthy relationship till it gets so bad, or, friendship or family dynamic, till it gets so bad that you will feel like you have to stay? You're saying to yourself now, I need to stay in case this could happen. Fearing something in the future could go wrong. Whereas in actual fact, if you get out now, everything will actually fall into place for both you and the other party. But if you continue to stay, you're literally going to manifest your worst fears and create something that would force you to stay. And I won't force you to stay, but it will make you think that you really have to stay. So ask yourself these questions. Are you just making excuses? Or are the things that you're fearing actually real? Are they happening in this moment? Because if they're not happening in this moment, then get the fuck out before you create that scenario. You know what I mean? Is it really true in this moment? Or is it based on a fear that could happen? Because a fear is a choice. You're choosing to fear something that may never actually happen and does not exist. But if you continue to not listen to your own guidance, you can create the worst case scenarios and end up being trapped in a situation that you don't want to be trapped in. And I will continue to say you're never trapped. At the end of the day, you always have a choice. Every single day you have a choice to evolve or repeat. What do you want to do? And it's time to evolve before you're forced to repeat. So get the fuck out now. Jump into your new reality, because you do deserve it. You do not deserve to live in this cycle. You do not deserve to be punished. It's not punishment. You do not deserve to have to learn a cycle over and over again. You deserve the highest vibrational reality that you're jumping into. But you need to let go of your old self. You need to let go of your old skin. You need to let go of this old environment, these people, these situations that are holding you back. Because if you're not listening to these nudges, if you're not listening to these shake-ups, things are going to get really bad, where you are going to see yourself as trapped. Don't get trapped. It's time to get out now, while you still have the energy and the capabilities of getting out now. And you'll always have the energy and the capabilities to get out, but something can go so wrong where you just don't have it in you to make that decision, because it would be harder to make that decision. So make the decision while it's easy, and don't wait for it to get worse so that it will be harder to make that decision. Get out now while while everything is actually still, I suppose, easy. It's never going to be easy. These decisions are never going to be easy. But get out now before you're presented with something that will make it more difficult to leave. Jump into your new reality and say goodbye to the past, because there's something magical ahead. So don't repeat another cycle. Evolve. This is your choice. Evolve or repeat. Which are you going to do? So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help on your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I'd love nothing more than to help you on your path.